In 1868, the legal landscape of the United States experienced a profound shift due to a highly publicized incident. General George W. Cole, a celebrated veteran of the Civil War, was at the center of a sensational trial. The event took place in the crowded lobby of a prominent hotel in New York, where General Cole fatally wounded L. Harris Hiscock. Because the act was committed in front of numerous eyewitnesses, the initial investigation into the identity of the shooter was swiftly concluded. However, the legal and investigative focus immediately shifted from the who to the why, opening a completely new frontier in American criminal defense. The defendant asserted that Hiscock had engaged in deeply improper conduct with the general's wife. This explosive claim forced investigators and defense attorneys to pivot away from standard physical evidence and dive deeply into the psychological state of the accused. The investigative techniques utilized in this matter were groundbreaking for the era. Defense investigators painstakingly reconstructed the general's timeline, focusing heavily on his state of mind in the days and hours leading up to the hotel encounter. They conducted extensive, rigorous interviews with his family, close friends, and fellow soldiers. The goal of these interviews was not to deny the act, but to establish a pattern of emotional distress and profound shock. Furthermore, legal teams examined the general's extensive military record. They were looking for any underlying trauma or nervous conditions exacerbated by his wartime service that could have contributed to a sudden mental break. The defense introduced a novel theory that the overwhelming shock of discovering the alleged betrayal triggered a sudden, uncontrollable burst of madness. This temporary insanity defense required investigators to gather anecdotal evidence of his prior sane character, juxtaposed against his erratic behavior upon hearing the news regarding his spouse. The trial itself transformed into a massive public examination of honor, marital fidelity, and the primitive emerging science of human psychology. Prosecutors attempted to investigate and prove premeditation, looking for evidence that the general had calmly planned the confrontation. However, the defense's investigative narrative of a mind temporarily shattered by grief proved far more compelling to the jury. The result, General Cole was found not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. This verdict set a massive legal precedent.